Next on Currents News, Mayor Bill de Blasio is now in the race for president. A lot of New Yorkers aren't backing him. We'll tell you how his liberal politics stack up with church teachings.
You certainly cannot deter your efforts to protect the unborn.
Alabama's governor is signing into law the nation's strongest protections for the unborn, and she's gearing up for a Supreme Court fight. Brooklyn deacon John-Paul Obiaeri will soon become a priest after a path filled with twists and turns.
A rare up-close and personal look at the new official portrait of Cardinal Dolan. I'm Emily Druby, and coming up, I'll introduce you to the artist.
Good evening, I'm Michelle Powers. There's a lot of reaction tonight to New York's Mayor Bill de Blasio announcing he's in the race for president. By a wide margin, New Yorkers don't back the controversial candidate, and his liberal politics often clash with Catholic Church teachings.
There's plenty of money in this world. There's plenty of money in this country. It's just in the wrong hands.
As New Yorkers, that's a campaign line we've heard countless times. But now Bill de Blasio is taking it national, officially entering the presidential race. Constantly identifying as, quote, spiritual, but not religious, the mayor has never had overwhelming support from New York City's Catholics. According to past Siena polls, his disapproval has reached as much as 40% among Catholics. Statewide, more than half of the faithful have said they hold an unfavorable opinion of the liberal mayor. He's pro-abortion and pro-same-sex marriage, but he is also staunchly pro-immigrant and initiates policies to combat climate change. In 2015, de Blasio made a two-day visit to Rome to attend a papal conference on global warming. While at the Vatican, he is quoted saying, "This is one of the centers of progressive thought in the world right now. In my lifetime, I never thought I'd say that sentence." And later that year, when Pope Francis visited New York City, the mayor praised him, using the name to endorse policies he was in favor of.
Now, the Pope is using his voice, his moral authority, to get across a message the whole world needs. And I think he has come around at a moment in our history where it was particularly necessary.
Still, despite scattered praise, Bill de Blasio remains openly uneasy about institutionalized religion. Besides criticizing the church's positions on gay marriage and abortion, he also denounces their handling of sex abuse and the role of women within the church. Although he may have not needed the so-called Catholic vote to secure NYC, nationally that vote is a key state constituency. Since 1972, no presidential candidate has won the nation's popular vote without the support of America's Catholics. De Blasio faces an uphill battle in convincing New Yorkers that he's fit for the White House. He's in political trouble in the city he has led for more than 5 years. 48% of Big Apple voters rate him unfavorably, while 36% give him a positive review, according to a recent Quinnipiac University study. Pollster Doug Shawn says the mayor is too far left, even for New York's Democrats. There is a clash between de Blasio and the Catholic Church. National correspondent for the Tablet and Crux, Christopher White, joins us now. So, Christopher, the mayor has been very rigid in his support of expanding abortion in New York State, and he's a big backer of Governor Cuomo's harsh law that eliminates nearly all restrictions on the deadly procedure. What would this mean for his presidential run?
Well, look, Michelle, what we've seen so far in the Democratic contest is really all these candidates are trying to outdo themselves in their support for abortion rights. And de Blasio represents what is unfortunately the abortion capital of the world. And I think he walks into the race very proud of that fact. But for Catholics, that is, a wound.
Yeah, speaking of Catholics, many of the issues that these working class Catholics care about, from affordable housing to even public transit, seem to be in worse shape now than when the mayor first took office. What's been the response to that?
I think what we've seen among Catholics and just regular voters is just a real sort of sense of frustration that the city is in disrepair, and the mayor seems more interested in pushing his larger social agenda to a national platform than taking care of the problems in his own backyard.
Now, speaking about relationships, what's been Mayor Bill de Blasio's relationship with the Catholic leaders of New York? Speaking about Bishop Nicholas DiMarzio and Cardinal Timothy Dolan.
Well, there are areas such as immigration and climate change where they've been able to really collaborate. However, the clash over the right to life has just been fundamental to their relationship, so a mixed bag.
All right, Christopher, thank you so much.
Thanks, Michelle.
Updating the news about America's strongest bill to protect life, the anti-abortion law in Alabama. Governor Kay Ivey signed it even though the measure could face a costly Supreme Court fight.
You certainly cannot deter your efforts to protect the unborn because of costs.
Alabama's legislature overwhelmingly approved the law, making the deadly procedure a felony in nearly all cases. Backers of the bill hope legal challenges get to the Supreme Court, where the new conservative majority could reverse Roe v. Wade. This morning, Missouri State Senate voted to protect the lives of unborn infants, passing its own version of an anti-abortion heartbeat bill. Missouri acted just hours after Alabama's governor signed that state's abortion ban. The Missouri measure stops the killing of babies once a heartbeat is detected or when a child can feel pain. Mike Parson is Missouri's governor.
As other states like New York and Virginia venture further away from the American ideal to protect and uphold the right to life, I am honored to lead a state standing here today with many of my colleagues and with so many others who are committed to standing up for those without a voice.
The heartbeat bill now goes to Missouri's House for a vote. Passage is expected. President Donald Trump is unveiling his new immigration plan at the White House today, moving the nation toward a merit-based policy that prioritizes high-skilled workers and secures the southern border while reducing immigration based on family ties.
We are proposing an immigration plan that puts the jobs, wages, and safety of American workers first. Our proposal is pro-American, pro-immigrant, and pro-worker. It's just common sense. Immigrants must be financially self-sufficient. Finally, to promote integration, assimilation, and national unity, future immigrants will be required to learn English and to pass a civics exam prior to admission.
Under the plan, more green cards would be awarded to students and professionals with high-level degrees, instead of those with relatives already in the U.S. We're getting word tonight of more Catholics killed in Burkina Faso. 4 are dead after gunmen opened fire during a religious procession. The West African nation has seen increasing violence from Islamic terrorists. The procession dedicated to the Virgin Mary was moving through a town on Monday when armed men killed 4 worshippers and burned a Marian statue. 6 other Catholics, including a priest, were murdered in Burkina Faso just the day before. Prayers for persecuted Christians will be offered tonight by Brooklyn's Bishop Nicholas DiMarzio and the Knights of Columbus. It will be a Marian hour of prayer before the Blessed Sacrament, dedicated to raising awareness of the plight of Christians persecuted for their faith worldwide. The service will be conducted at St. James Cathedral Basilica, located at 250 Cathedral Place in downtown Brooklyn, beginning tonight at 7:30. There's a lot more news headed your way. The Brooklyn deacon, whose path to answering God's call took many twists and turns. A new painting that caused one visitor to exclaim he feels like he knows Cardinal Timothy Dolan, and how the artist made it happen. Bishop DiMarzio joins us to preview the National Assembly of America's bishops and the many important topics they'll be tackling. Do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number, 718-517-3122. We'll be right back. 4 men are devoting their lives to God and will soon become priests in the Diocese of Brooklyn. In a special series called The Road to Priesthood, we are profiling each of them for you, a chance to meet the new shepherds before they celebrate Mass. Currents News' Katie Anguser has the story of an immigrant who says his journey to the priesthood and America was divine providence.
Voices raised in a joyful noise, where parishioners of St. Clement Pope Church in Jamaica, Queens celebrate their African heritage weekly. For Deacon John-Paul Obiaeri, it's a welcome reminder of his childhood home and his road to the priesthood.
My coming to Brooklyn was totally providential.
Deacon John-Paul's faith was formed in Abanibor, Nigeria, a small town that in English means 3 homes or 3 places. His family, including 3 brothers and 1 sister, and his community are all deeply devout.
In some families in my area, you have like 3 or 4 priests coming from siblings.
John-Paul followed suit.
I was, heavily involved in everything going on in the parish.
Eventually becoming so inspired by the parish priest that he decided to enter the seminary. But halfway through, as Deacon John-Paul began to study philosophy and question everything around him, he started to have doubts, causing him to leave.
At some point I said, this is not what I want to do.
John-Paul tried to find his way. His family, who were concerned, asked him how they could help. John-Paul had an idea.
I want to go to abroad, I want to study abroad.
Happy to help however they could, his family agreed, so he narrowed down his choices to 3 schools: Boston College, Fordham University, and St. John's University. John-Paul had made up his mind to go to Boston, and then tragedy struck. The Boston Marathon bombing caused the college to curtail the number of new foreign students, Deacon John-Paul among them. So he decided to choose between 2 New York schools instead. He chose to go to Fordham and room with a friend in Canarsie.
And that was actually how I came to know Brooklyn.
While he attended classes, more and more people were mistaking him for a priest. He started considering his vocation again, and as he grappled with a difficult decision, he asked God for help.
I said, God, okay, if this is what you're calling me to do, then make it easy for me. Make it easy in such that I will call the diocese, and the diocese will be able to respond.
And God answered his call. Now Deacon John-Paul is serving the Brooklyn Diocese, a place he calls home. And as he prepares for his ordination, his doubts are gone, thanks to God, his family, and the faithful in the Diocese of Brooklyn.
People don't want me to be another Jesus Christ. They just want me to be a priest of Jesus Christ. And that's the much I can be, to be the priest for the people.
In Jamaica, Katie Anguser, Currents News.
Deacon John-Paul, along with other young seminarians from Brooklyn, will be ordained on June 1st. Watch Currents News every Friday until then as Katie delivers personal profiles on each of the men who are answering God's call. The portrait is being unveiled after years of hard work, an image of New York Cardinal Timothy Dolan that one visitor says makes him feel like he knows the church leader. Currents News' Emily Druby reports that art comes from the close links between the painter and the cardinal.
Artist Richard Hearns' beautiful pieces fill the walls of the Sheen Center, but one standout piece commands the room. The new official portrait of Cardinal Timothy Dolan, the piece born through mutual friends.
We have a very long family connection.
Hearns grew up Catholic. His godmother, Sister Rosario Delaney, was Cardinal Dolan's grade school principal, and family friend Sister Bosco Daly, the Cardinal's teacher.
We both had this very positive influence from these same 2 women all our lives. So that's really the bridge that connects myself and the Cardinal.
But now another bridge connects the two, this artwork. Over the years, Hearns and Cardinal Dolan have met both in New York City and in Ireland, where Hearns lives. The idea for the portrait came from these get-togethers. Hearns is primarily an abstract painter, so painting a portrait was a challenge, one he was thrilled to take on.
I went to great lengths. I pored over books. I talked to anybody I knew who was involved in portraiture. I visited museums.
His hard work paid off.
That painting was in my studio for over 3 years and nobody really got to see it. So now to have other people engage with the painting, I can't put it into words really, it means a great deal to me.
The portrait and other pieces from his still life collection on display at the Sheen Center for all to enjoy.
I love the way he's captured the Archbishop here. It's almost like I feel like I know him.
Of course, people can't take home the main portrait, but they do have these little individual mini portraits that people can take home. Some of them will even be signed by the artist. In NoHo, Emily Druby, Currents News.
Once again, the Cardinal's painting will be on public display at the Sheen Center, located at 18 Bleecker Street through May 22nd. Admission is free. Dozens of worshipers from around the diocese attended a showing of the pro-life movie Unplanned this week. The screening, which was sponsored by the Diocese of Brooklyn, served as an opportunity for many young Catholics to learn about the horrors of abortion through the eyes of Abby Johnson. The high-profile pro-life advocate was once a director for Planned Parenthood. That was until she witnessed a baby in the womb cringing from the deadly procedure. For some, her story was so moving, it forever changed how they think about abortion.
There were some tears in my eyes, like as I was watching the movie. It was like, it's nothing that you would imagine.
Now that I saw how the baby was being aborted, I thought very differently. I thought like, wow, that was wrong, because the baby was trying to escape and they killed it. So it changed everything for me.
The part that really hit me a lot was when the lady said, "And who do you got?" And then I heard her say God. And I'm like, that's so true, because you don't need anyone else other than God.
Unplanned, which is rated R, shows that life begins at conception and anyone can have a conversion experience to spread the mission of the pro-life movement. Soon, the bishops of the United States will get together for their National Assembly. They're taking on several major issues, including the protection of children and young adults from abuse. Among the top leaders going to the Baltimore meeting will be Bishop de Blasio. Tonight, he is with Ed Wilkinson for a preview. Ed.
Thanks, and Bishop de Blasio is with us today. We're going to take a little preview of the bishop's meeting in June that he'll be attending down in Baltimore. Bishop, I guess it's good to get together with your brother bishops every couple
It
of...
is. It's good to see them.
You see that? But these are serious meetings, and you have one right now that's coming up in June in Baltimore. And high on the agenda, again, is the sex abuse crisis, especially given the fact that you tried to do some things last November. The Vatican asked you to hold off on that because there was a Roman Synod coming up, and you felt that was the right decision at the time.
Yes, I think so, because we have the fruit of those 21 things that the Holy Father himself wanted to bishops' conferences around the world to attend to. And I would say that I think we had about 17 of them that we still have to do something with. And all of the agenda from November is before us with a lot of clarification. So I think we were kind of lost in November. We didn't know exactly which way to go. There was some good ideas. Some of them seemed difficult to implement, but now I think it's a little clearer what we can do and how we can do it.
Would you say that the impression at the Synod in Rome, the meeting in Rome, was that the U.S. bishops were further along on this topic than many other Episcopal conferences around the world?
Well, it's true. We had done a lot. We were probably the first to put some very stringent rules in, to have the training and to have it in a very organized way.
Yeah. What does the U.S. bishops still have to work on?
Well, I mean, again, everything can be improved. I think we've touched all the areas, the accompaniment of the abused, looking for ways to protect minors, trying to find better ways of reporting. That is, fairly universal now in the U.S. There's reporting lines that are independent of the church. Probably how we deal with the offenders themselves needs some work. It's very difficult to understand how's the best way to handle them, what can we do for them, and how do we protect people from them. But all those things are really need some extra work.
Yeah. What do you find them asking for? I mean, you meet with them one-on-one, and then they have their own focus groups here in this diocese. There's a whole office set up. What do you think they're asking for? What are their needs that they're looking to the church for? Because these are people that have stuck with the church.
Sure. They really need recognition that something happened to them. They want somebody in authority to say, yes, it happened. It wasn't your fault. I think that's the key thing. After that, some of them still need counseling, have still to deal with some of these issues. They need assistance with that. That's what they're looking for, but they're not looking solely for monetary gain. They're looking for help and for peace in their lives.
And one of the topics, I guess, that will be addressed will be how do you hold bishops accountable, for things that happen in their diocese? Is that's going to come up on the agenda? And
it's there. Again, I think we have accountability. Clearly, anything that happens, the bishops are responsible. We have procedures in place that deal with how to report. Again, there was some hesitancy. They didn't believe that bishops themselves were held accountable. And I have to say, any bishop that was accused and found that truly had abused anybody, they've been taken out of ministry. Anybody who mishandled the case in really the wrong way, they also have been either sanctioned or taken out of their diocese. So again, it's looking for a fail-safe system. The system actually has worked as far as I can see, and that could maybe be a little structured more, but the fact is that it has actually worked.
Do you foresee any changes here in the diocese in the way you handle the situation here? I mean, we've been pretty good on this.
Right now, I don't see too much change, but again, anything can be improved, and we'll see what comes up at the meeting.
Good. Bishop will be watching on TV.
Okay,
and,
very good.
Back to the news desk.
Thank you, Ed and Bishop de Blasio. We want to alert you to something special coming up on Currents News, Letters Between Friends. It's a story of two different faiths intertwined and forever connected by a shared history of traditions and common values. Bronx native Michael Barbaro and Bishop de Blasio are the letter writers and the friends.
He's one of the persons I would say is a friend, a pen pal.
He's not just the bishop, of course, but I consider him as a good friend.
Letters Between Friends is a heartwarming story that will be on Currents News next Tuesday. Up next on tonight's Currents News, dozens of kids around the Diocese of Brooklyn are receiving awards from the Tablet. We'll tell you about what they accomplished. And the home run nun is back. Sister Shirley Tremont is being immortalized ahead of next month's Catholic Schools Night. And the Tablet has a brand new page called Our Diocesan Family, where you can share your pictures of recent baptisms, Holy Communions, confirmations, marriage, all of the joyous sacraments. For more details and to submit your photos, go to thetablet.org/ourdiocesanfamily. Your picture may be published in an upcoming issue of the newspaper. We'll be right back. She's known as the home run nun, and this year the hype around Sister Shirley Tremont is bigger than ever.
Okay, here it is. Drum roll.
Bobblehead big, just in time for the Scholars versus Collars showdown this Catholic Schools Night at Coney Island's MCU Park. The Filipini sister and teacher at St. Bernadette's Catholic Academy was the MVP of last year's match for athletic efforts on the field and at bat, enough to get a bobblehead in her image and likeness, complete with a signatures sideways hat.
This was totally on my baseball bucket list. It's, yeah, I don't know any other Filipini that would do this, so I guess, yeah, it's me.
You can get your own Sister Shirley bobblehead when you purchase a $12 ticket for the big game. To get your bobblehead and game tickets, go to fivo.me/Shirley bobblehead. And to purchase a regular game ticket, go to fivo.me/Catholic Schools Night. The Tablet's annual Easter Art Awards were handed out last night. Over 500 entries from 28 schools and parishes around the Brooklyn Diocese submitted their artwork as part of the contest. The theme was Christ is Risen. Members of the Tablet, Currents News, and Nostra Voce teams served as judges before the event. A winner was crowned from first grade through high school. The event was also streamed live on Facebook. The full video can be found online at the Tablet Facebook page at facebook.com/thetablet. That is Currents News. I'm Michelle Powers. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.